So this week we had yet more news about serious allegations of abuse of young workers at McDonald's.
At 6, McDonald's sacks 29 people over sexual harassment allegations following a BBC investigation.
This is now a really serious picture. There's been 160 complaints about abuse to the BBC. There have been 300 complaints about abuse at McDonald's to the Equalities Watchdog. And there have been 700 people who have come together, former McDonald's workers, to take legal action against the firm. So we called McDonald's boss and Alistair McCroy back to the House of Commons, and my opening question to him was pretty simple.
Has McDonald's basically now become a predator's paradise?
So some of the stories that have been published by the BBC have been truly heartbreaking. This was one of the interviews that their employment correspondent, Zoe Conway, recorded.
Matt left the company 7 months ago after 2 years of working there.
I don't think they care at all.
He says it was a toxic place to work.
For myself, it was being bullied for having a learning disability, managers and staff being racist to other staff, managers trying to touch other staff up.
Now, this is not a problem that is unique to McDonald's here in the UK. There have been actions taken against McDonald's literally around the world. But what we wanted to get to the bottom of is whether McDonald's addiction to 0 hours contracts was at the root of the problem. McDonald's will employ something like 200,000 people next year. But here's the truth. About 90% of people who work for McDonald's are on 0 hours contracts. So what we wanted to know is whether widespread 0 hours contracts were leading to an imbalance of power, which was leading to a workplace where abuse was flourishing. Some of the stories we heard included a story of a manager demanding sex of a 17-year-old staff member in return for shifts. This is how that exchange went with my colleague Antony.
I just don't see how you can root out harassment and bullying and create the culture where people can speak up when 9 in 10 of your workers are employed on 0 hours contracts, which by definition open the door to favouritism, open the door to bullying, open the door to sexual harassment. We've heard about sex for shifts happening in one of your restaurants, and if it's happened once, it will have happened more than once.
I just want to make sure we've got this on the record. You don't think that pervasive use of 0 hours contracts leads to imbalances of power in the workplace?
Contracts that we offer in McDonald's, which are fair contracts, do not create any sort of systemic behaviour or issue with balances of power. I am very confident of that, and I believe that we have in place all of the right people checks to ensure that no managers are using them that way.
But perhaps the most alarming news that we heard from our exchange is that the Chief Executive of McDonald's can't guarantee a time when McDonald's will be abuse-free. Here's what he said.
You can't give us a guarantee, or you can't give us a timeline for when McDonald's will be abuse-free.
Cannot guarantee a time when there will be no allegations raised. And in fact, if there was nobody speaking up, I'd be concerned that something was stopping people speaking up.
So, do you think exploitative 0 hours contracts should be allowed to continue? Do you think that it creates problems in companies like McDonald's? The law is about to change, and there's an argument that is underway about how strict the new rules against 0 hours contracts should be. And you'll be amazed to hear that in the Whitehall consultation that is underway, McDonald's is one of the companies that is arguing to try and keep things as pretty close to how they are today. Do you think that should be allowed to continue? Do you hear stories about abuse at McDonald's? Do you worry about how young workers are protected? Do you think that this should be a country where 0 hours contracts are allowed to exist? Let us know what your comments are, and if you've liked this video, please like it and share it with your friends and networks, and of course, don't forget to hit subscribe.